Well, well, well. I bet you were thinking that I was like totally never gonna piece it all together and figure it out. Has it been entertaining watching me stumble through the dark? I must have been quite amusing. But the thing is, now I'm the one who gets to be amused. Ah, yes, the tables, they're finally a turning. I have some lovely Khalifa Kush right here that I'll be using to facilitate my connection with the quantum realm. I mean, to actually realize that this entire time I thought I was just stoned off my ass, I was visiting the quantum realm and got to know all sorts of otherworldly beings, including a lot of deceased loved ones. So that's been absolutely fantabulistical. I don't even have a word for it. I just gotta say what it actually is. Fucking more phenomenal. Yes, yes, indeedy, indeedy it is. Because have you all not noticed that the world kinda went topsy-turvy once marijuana was legalized? Now, I'm not trying to shit on my little green friend here, but the thing is, with great power comes great responsibility, and also just the fact that we didn't know what we were dabbling with. I mean, we thought weed was just weed. Turns out, weed is the facilitator for the supernatural. And all kinds of quantum leap style hijinks. I mean, you smoke it and you just start unraveling the mysteries of the universe. It's just the way it goes. As long as you have a decently focused mind. I mean, if you're just sitting here getting high as balls all day, every day, and just watching television show after television show with no cognizant awareness, yeah, you probably aren't going to end up anyplace interesting. But, on the other hand, if you have good cognizant awareness while you're stoned off your ass, and if you happen to be partaking in the right kind of entertainment, because after all it is called entertainment, you're going to experience some really fantastical shit. But I would love to just calm down those out there who might be suffering from a paranoia-induced panic attack, which marijuana can also do, but we also like to call those fear attacks. We also like to look at those in the Harry Potter lens of being attacked by some Dementor-like spirit who's trying to suck the life force out of you. And any one of you who's ever experienced a panic attack, I am sure, can relate to those feelings. You feel like your life force is being drained. It really hits all of the hallmarks of a Dementor attack. And to be the person who's actually sat here and gone, well, let's figure out what this shit is. Is it a chemical imbalance, or is that just the lie that we've all been told so that the world could keep the lid on the paranormal and supernatural? Ding, 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 ding. If you believe that they've been lying to us our entire lives, you are in fact correct. They have been. See, mental health isn't at all what we fucking thought it was, just like imagination isn't at all what we fucking think it is, because imagination is the thing that connects us all. Imagination is another great term for the quantum realm, for the supernatural, whatever you want to label it as. I mean, it's really just this incredible phenomena that we're all familiar with that is so simple that it's almost impossible to explain, because it's just that creative, imaginative force within our minds. But the thing is, we use imagination wrong. Like, imagination doesn't mean something isn't real. It just means that it requires focused mental effort to bring that imagined creation into reality. And there are so many people who have so many different things pop up in their minds all day, every day. And it's those people who pursue those imagined creations and try to figure out how to breathe life to them into the real world that completely change the world for you and me. And yet, that's not exactly how we're taught the world works. We're taught this very hard, bullshitty, made up kind of concoction shenanigan shit that's trying to tell us reality is harsh, imagination, it doesn't serve that much of a purpose. Bullshit! Imagination is the only thing that keeps the world spinning. I mean, we all believe in these imaginary rules, and we all like to follow them. But why? The people in power don't follow the rules. They don't give a shit about the rules. They don't care about you, and they don't care about me. What's really going on is the fact that those in power are aware that God is real, and they've done everything they can to use dark powers and dark means to suppress Him from helping us. See, the reality isn't that God has forgotten or abandoned us. And it's not that you even truly really need to believe in Him for Him to care about you. That's not what's really going on here. What's going on is there are two forces out there in the universe. You've got your force of good and you got your force of evil. And just the more energy that's pumped into one or the other, that source is going to become more powerful than the other. Right now, we inhabit a world that does nothing but promote negativity, negative mindedness. Come on. We can't even celebrate good games anymore. We can't even go back and go, this game from 10 years ago, this is just a classic, and we all need to be playing. Everything is being picked apart left, right, and sideways. Nobody can just sit down and enjoy something for what it is anymore without ripping it apart because you're all so afraid that you're wasting your time. You're so afraid that time is just ticking away that you're becoming your own worst enemy. And that is by design. They want us to turn on ourselves because that makes us all much more docile and much easier to control. Did you not notice that black people are still being abused by the police, but there hasn't been any massive movement since George Floyd? That's been a couple of years now. We haven't had any real societal advancement, any real societal change, but yet everybody's just keeping on. That's not normal. It's not normal that we were all set to storm Area 51 and then all hell broke loose. There have been some really interesting things going on in our timeline that kind of go, hey, that could have been a catalyst for some shit. Just like the fact that you legalized pot at this massive scale where everyone now could stay stoned 24/7. And that's not always a great idea because paranoia does come with the high. I'm somebody who loves pot. I smoke a lot of pot. I talk a lot about pot on this channel. So if I'm telling you that, I'm not saying stop using it, but I am saying that if everyone is stoned 24/7, can we not at all just kind of convene right here and go, a clue, Sherlock? We've had weed legalized for several years, and we've had nothing but strange going-ons in our society. That society is not functioning in the way that it has functioned for the last 40 years. The way that society functioned in the 80s and the 90s is completely different from today, and yet it really shouldn't be worse. We should have gotten better at some shit. But even then, look at, a time period from 2005 to 2013. If you were around then and you were using the internet, you know that what's going on today is totally fucked. We're not talking to real people on the internet. We're talking with artificial intelligence. We're talking with bots that they're using to populate the internet. Most specifically, social media networks. Where did all the people go? Why are we isolated in rooms with bots? Could it be because we all have begun to unravel the mysteries of the universe? And those at the top of power are trying to keep the lid on it? I fucking believe so, because we now get to the part where we get to wave our dicks at evil, and that's my favorite part of the show, ladies and gentlemen. I know you're watching me. I know you've been fucking with my head. I know you think you have me trapped and isolated. But day by day, little by little, baby step by baby step, I'm figuring it all out. Do I fall for the same tricks every day? Sometimes, because you gotta have a means to an end, my friends. Sometimes you just gotta play the game. That way you can understand the game that's being played on you. All you had was fear. That's all you could use against me. And day by day, little by little, I've done nothing but defeat fear every single time you have thrown it at me. And it's actually getting really exciting and interesting now because I do know, for real, what's fucking going on. I know that you, some acronym-based clandestine agency, has been watching me for a very long time. You probably caught wind of me during the Standing Rock shit when I was living in an extended stay. When I had nearly ended up homeless because you have done everything that you can to try to upend my life in the most bizarre ways possible. But now that I can sit back and look at all of the events that have happened to me over the last, gee golly whiz, near decade, I can finally start seeing the true reality. I know that nothing I do on the internet really makes a huge difference except to the lives that I happen to be saving. See, I don't work for you. I work for the Creator. God. Him, her, whatever you want to label it as. It's that all-loving, all-caring, all-awesome being that wants to protect and look after all of us. The only problem is its batteries have been, very low for quite some time, just because there aren't enough people who have true faith in God to really empower him. And to have true faith in God, you can't be afraid of him. You can't think that he's going to punish you. You can't think that he's out to get you. You can't think that he doesn't like you. He loves you. She loves you. God is this amazing thing that just wants every day of your life to be the best day that it could ever be. It's like having Robin Williams on your shoulder who's just constantly wanting you to seize the day, who just wants you to believe what makes you feel good and do what makes you feel good. It's like there aren't rules that he really wants you to follow other than be kind to yourself and be kind to those who deserve kindness. As long as somebody's out there not being a massive bully or a massive dick, and if you can give them a smile or maybe you can help them with that free latte that day, it doesn't really matter. It can be a literal or it can be a big thing. Sometimes people, they just need their coffee in the morning. They just need that one thing that gets them up and going. And you can provide that to them with a smile on your face, and you can turn that person's day around. Instead of having a real shitty morning at the coffee shop, they can have an incredible one. And who knows what that could affect for the rest of their day and then their life. That's how the world has always worked. But evil has tried to destroy all of that, all of the little acts of kindness, all of that, hey, this game's so awesome, you should give it a try. Hey, this movie, oh, fucking epic! That's what they want to ruin. That's what they want to take away from our lives. It's just like the launch of the original Wii. You had all of these gamers who were hyped to play Red Steel. If you're a gamer, from this generation, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If not, look up Red Steel on the Wii. That game is so much fucking fun to this day. Why? Because how many first-person shooters have gesture-based controls nowadays? It was something that came and went during the Wii's era, and we really haven't seen it done properly ever since. I mean, yeah, there's been some games with gyroscope controls here and there from the PlayStation to the Switch, but they haven't been built from the ground up like Red Steel, where you just had this incredibly immersive sense of control that everybody on IG and GameSpot and everybody else wanted to destroy because they didn't want to see something new. It's that old adage of keeping control over things that you want to control. I mean, it really is that stupid and simple that they don't want a movie that would awaken people to the realities of child trafficking, so they want to destroy it critically. Even though there's nothing that you can really say bad about Sound of Freedom, they're going to try to come up with any bullshit they can sling at it just because, they don't want mass awareness of human trafficking. Well, it's the same thing that they just didn't want back in the day, mass happiness. Can you imagine a bunch of hardcore Xbox 360, PS3 style gamers who embraced the Wii and that it became not just a casual console, but that it was a console for everyone. That it had every kind of game possible. Yeah, the other two companies, they didn't want that shit. Sony and Microsoft did not want that kind of competition. Because what the Wii and Red Steel really proves is that graphics and all of that shit that they tried to make you all think, oh, this game needs to have this, it needs to look like that, it needs to play like this. Bullshit! A game just needs to be designed to be fun. And more or less, when you're going to the drawing board and you're like, hey, I want to replicate GoldenEye. I want to make a first-person shooter that hits the market and is that incredible experience just like GoldenEye that just is so new, so fresh, so original that it takes the world by storm. They did not want that to happen with Red Steel. Because I guarantee you, if you pick that game up today, set the sensitivity settings to the second setting, and you will have one of the freshest, most immersive first-person shooters you've ever played. If you're a classic first-person shooter game, you will sit there and you will question why this game has such great level design, such great music, that it just brings you back to your childhood of playing GoldenEye. And for me, here's the kicker. When I first played Red Steel, I didn't enjoy it. I listened to all the negative hype. I played it for about an hour and I never touched it again, and I barely played my Wii. There were a couple of times that I picked it up and I enjoyed some games off of it, but being the hardcore gamer, I was just always on my 360 and PS3. We don't understand how mind control works. You might be thinking, you're talking about a lot of random weird shit right now. We went from human trafficking to Wii and Red Steel. What? Why? Because that's how societal control works. It can't just be big things, it's got to be everything. They've got to be telling us everything that we should like, everything that we should love. And if they don't want us to participate in it, if they want us to look at it like it's a negative thing, that's what they're going to do to it. They're going to use us to destroy the things that we should love. You could have a game like Red Steel for the Wii that could make tons of people happy. They could just be having the times of their life after school or whatever the case was, you know? But because of all that negative reception, everybody's just like, oh, Red Steel, who's going to play that? And even when they made the badass sequel that people even agreed was really, really good with Red Steel 2, people just didn't pick up Wii shooters. I mean, the Conduit 1 and 2 are some fantabulistic Wii shooters. The Wii has some great games, and also, oh, of course, the Conduit has nothing but conspiratorial storylines about alien invasions on our planet, and that those in power of politics are working with the evil aliens. And you know what? When you have a world so full of mind control, I got to say that it's not out of the realm of possibility at all, especially when we see all this crazy hoopla that's happening every day, that they're trying to keep the lids on, that nobody is really asking significant questions about. It's time for our heads to come out of our asses. Everything in our society is about control. They want to tell you the movies to watch, the games not to play, because they don't want you to sit down and either have an incredible experience with something like Red Steel that just makes you smile. I mean, I pull out my Wii, I dust that thing off, and I play it all the time now. I don't even have to dust it off because I play it so much now. I mean, I'm playing 360, GameCube, original Xbox, PS2. I'm going from old school games to new school games like every day. I just go back and forth. And number one, that adds to my appreciation of today's games, because when I play these older games that have slower frame rates and lower poly graphics and where you really have to use your imagination to sometimes enjoy them, and then you start playing these new games that are just so advanced and so fucking kick-ass, it just makes you so much more grateful for everything in between. And it's the same thing for me watching TV. I love going back watching classic shows like Magnum P.I., the original Charlie's Angels, the original Adam West Batman series, Miami Vice, but also all of these new shows. I love all of these new shows too. The revival of Hawaii Five-0, that show's kick-ass. There are so many, just kick-ass things out there. And I hate being that person who looks at things like they're dated. I loved my 80s and 90s kids because when we grew up on Blockbuster and we were watching Cartoon Network, if it was new to us, it was new. We didn't have to go, oh, that cartoon is 20 years old. We're not going to watch it today. Yeah, it might be 20 years old, but this is the first time we're fucking watching it. Let's enjoy. Same thing for going to Blockbuster. We would rent everything and anything. It could be a new release or it could be a classic. And the whole thing was just, did the box art call to you, Did you see something that just drew you to it? That's what made life so enjoyable. There were all of these kinds of wonderful adventures that you could go on, and you could learn so much from a movie to a video game. It could be a stupid Pauly Shore comedy, and you could walk away not only smiling and laughing, but you could have learned a thing or two. Actually, most of his movies have a lot of psychological lessons to them. It's kind of hilarious, really, how underrated Pauly Shore movies are. I mean, he's got a movie for every kind of cause you can think of. If it's the South and the West clashing, that kind of mindset with son-in-law, you expose just the true insanity of our court system with jury duty, because it's people like fucking Pauly Shore who are deciding what happens in legal cases. And then End the Army now completely proves, yeah, they were fucking trying to brainwash people into joining the army. And you can definitely see games like Call of Duty as recruitment tools as well. But then also you have to question the amount of conspiratorial shit that has been put into the Call of Duty franchise. From Black Ops with its MK Ultra storylines and the JFK assassinations and everything else. It very much seems to me that the artists of the world are trying to communicate with you and me, that they're trying to enlighten us, and they're trying to prepare us, and they're also trying to protect us from the nefarious forces who are trying to destroy our lives on a daily basis. How do you destroy our life on a daily basis? You make us make horrible choices. You make us get into horrible relationships that are complete dead ends, where people are controlling our lives, where you're not happy, where you're a slave to your own life. Oh, I gotta go to this job, and then I gotta go home to this bitch that I fucking married, or this bastard. Believe you me, it's not a gender thing. Alright? There are shitty wives and there are shitty husbands. And you can be in a shitty same-sex relationship too. The whole fucking point is just that we're chasing things that we don't even understand, that don't do us any good. The more that I sit here and I just focus on watching this makes me happy, and when I do that, I end up learning something. There's always something in whatever I turn on that's talking to me in this incredible serendipitous kind of way, that's referencing the universe, that's just opening my eyes to so many new things. And that's why every day isn't just a new adventure, but I'm learning new things, and I'm just so much happier. I mean, I went through hell and back in the last couple of weeks with my health, but it was all fucking worth it because it got me here. To actually be standing and to go yeah, I don't mind having to have felt shitty if now I feel great. And that's definitely what a lot of this process was. Some of it was feeling mentally shitty, some of it was feeling physically shitty, some of it was getting physically out of shape and mentally out of shape, and then just having to fucking go, alright, time to get back on track, time to get back to being me. And yet that could only happen once I realized, turns out I work for God. And God's been giving me all of the missions and all of the shit that I've been doing and all of this running around in circles that you've been watching me, you clandestine cocksuckers, He was training me. And we were exposing you at the same time. We now know everything that's going on in our little world. Can we affect it yet? Not yet, but we're working on that. Day in, day out, day by day by day. I don't care how crazy I sound. I'm the schizo hero. I've got so much backup inside of me it ain't funny. Because the world that we live in is clearly crazier than I could ever be. I see all of the threads, and it's only a matter of time before this entire plan comes together. See, you thought that you were keeping me trapped and that you were winning. No, not at all. Not at all. We've just been enjoying playing the game. We've been enjoying watching you run around with your head like a little chicken cut off. Because, you know, even as you sit there thinking that I'm running around like an idiot, that I have no clue, you know I do. You just know that I'm the most unpredictable motherfucker that you've ever dealt with in your life. And there's a good reason for that. And I'm sure you know it. So I've enjoyed our little chat. As always, I enjoy wasting your time. Remember, the more you're focused on watching me, the more that my angels can do the work that they're supposed to be doing. And you know you just can't stop watching little old me. You know that you can't walk away, because what if that's the day that the angels break the code, hack through, and release all of my content to the world? You're up Schitt's Creek without a paddle, my friend. We hold all the cards. If I were you, I would surrender. But we know that you're, well, a group of dumbasses. So, keep playing, we'll keep winning, and eventually the plan's just going to come together in one of those A-Team kind of ways where y'all are really going to go, shit, we should have surrendered when we had the chance. But there's just one thing. See, God and I, we've joined Cobra Kai recently. So all we have to impart to you is our lovely dojo's motto. No mercy, bitch!